Hey, this is John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. I've got a question for you today about job hopping. This is something that I get asked quite a bit, so I thought I would answer this question today. So this question actually comes from Tyler, and it's nice and short this time. So love the podcast, love the blog and podcast. I was on Soft Skills launch team writing, talking, and reviewing the book wherever I could. Well, thanks for that, Tyler. If you're wondering what Tyler is talking about, he's talking about my book, Soft Skills. And I had actually a launch team for this book where if you were signed up to my mailing list, then we all wrote reviews on the same day, or everyone kind of promoted it. And that went extremely well. We ended up getting I think over 100 Amazon reviews, 5-star reviews in the first 2 days. So cool. Thanks for that. Thanks for everyone who participated in that. That really made the book skyrocket and become a best-selling software development book in a matter of days. So I appreciate that. So he says, quick question. In software design and development, lots of the time it's easier to get a new job than a raise. This encourages a lot of hungry developers to switch jobs every year or so. Do you think this will end up hurting these designers and developers down the road? Thanks. So, 15 years ago, Tyler, I probably would have said yes, right? But things are changing really rapidly. In fact, we're kind of developing into this, we had, the different revolutions, right? And we kind of entered this information age, and we're kind of seeing this shift between with employment where people are really becoming less stable in jobs, right? We used to have these big pension plans, right? You used to work somewhere for 50 years and the company was like your family, and then they took care of you. But that's really not the case anymore. And in fact, it's going to kind of this extreme. I think we're sort of hitting this point where we're going almost back to the Middle Ages, where people were blacksmiths and they hung up their shingle for what they did, and we're becoming more of an entrepreneurial culture, right? Where you create your own job, you define your own job. You might be freelancing, working at an hourly rate or whatever. But especially when you look in the U.S., all the healthcare laws and things like that, employers don't actually want to take you on anymore because they don't want to be responsible, right? They have more obligations, so it's kind of forcing more people to become independent. So with all that said, what I'm getting to is that whereas before, right, jumping jobs used to be frowned upon, it still is to some degree, there's a lot more companies that are realizing now that they're going to have you for maybe a year or 2 at the most. And some companies that if you are a specialist, like I always recommend, and you can come in there and do the job, hit the ground running where they don't have to train you, that they're willing to even, hire someone for 6 months worth of time, right? So, if you think about it from the employer's perspective, that's you got to think about what are you trying to accomplish. Again, if you're with a big company that plans to have you for the next 10 to 15 years, then you probably are going to spend some time training, and so you don't want to see a high turnover, so you're going to reject kind of applicants that show that. But more and more small companies, right, that are nimble, that are growing themselves, and they're not really concerned about this. Their big concern is going to be, can you hit the ground running and do the job? So what I would say with this then is, if you are looking to do this kind of, jump jobs and get a raise, or instead of getting a raise, right, you jump jobs to get the higher salary, go ahead and do this. But when you do this, make sure that you are applying to companies where where you're going to show them that you can hit the ground running, right? This is the key thing, because if you're applying for companies that are, kind of looking for long-term employees, bigger companies like the HPs and the Microsofts, they're probably not going to look at this job hopping as friendly. But you can even still frame that, right? It's all about framing. You can still come in there and say, well, early in my career, I did a lot of different things and I jumped to a lot of different jobs because I was trying to gain more skills and find out what kind of environment I liked to work in. But your company is the one that I'll stick with. You can sort of give them that confidence. So you can even get around that. But the key thing is going to be, from an employment perspective, is going to be do they feel like you can hit the ground running and and they're not going to have to invest in you? Because the reason why job hopping is bad is because if I hire you as a developer on my team and then I spend 2 months training you in money and resources and time, and then you leave 6 months later to take a higher paying job, or you come back and you say, hey, I got this other offer and now you need to pay me 10 grand a year more, that's bad, right? That I end up losing money on you. But if you come in for the same job and I don't have to train you for 2 months and you're going to hit the ground running. In fact, you're so skilled and specialized in an area that you're going to, by you being there for just 6 months of time, you're going to increase the skill level of all my people. All of a sudden, I don't care how long you're there. I mean, I want you to stay longer, but you're valuable to me right from the get-go. So that's the key thing, is like always when you have these kind of questions, think about the economics involved for the employer. It's not just that there's a stigma, I mean, and there may be with interviewers, but you got to think about the economics involved. So, I'm in the boat of saying, jump jobs and use that to get your pay higher and higher, because you're right. It does take longer. It is harder to get a raise at a company. And, that there's that old saying, a prophet is not welcome in his hometown. And that's what will happen as your skills grow at a bigger company. You'll find that people will not listen to you, even though they'll see you as the old person that you were, as the new hire that you were when you were young and inexperienced. So you might have to go somewhere else in order to gain the respect and to really increase your career. So yeah, hopefully that helps you. I think this is an interesting topic. A lot of people have debated this, but like I said, we're going more towards that entrepreneurial thing where more and more people are entrepreneurs, more and more people are working on a at-will basis and contract for hire. So this is becoming less and less of an issue. It all boils down to the economics of it, though. That's really the key to think about. Different companies, different cultures, different economic models are going to influence what you do here. So if you have a question for me, just email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. I'd love to answer your question. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel or share this video if you think that someone else who maybe they're struggling with a compulsive job hopper. Send them the video and give them a little bit of confidence so that they don't freak out when they apply for their next job. Take care.